Well, this morning it is a gorgeous 35 degrees. This is definitely not planting weather, but we're doing it anyway. It's April 24th now, 23rd. Calendar says to plant, so we're going. Well, while Dad's been planting, I've just kind of been getting all the fields worked. So all the ground that needed leveled up is now finished. I've just kind of been running around, like I said, leveling up ground so that he can keep going. We can get all our beans just put in the ground as fast as possible. It's way too cold to spray anything. Now that I'm done with this, I can just focus on tending him seed, and hopefully we'll be done with beans in a few days. I am just going to leave this tractor here because obviously this ground needs worked. The ground next to me is ripped, needs worked. That's corn on corn. So this is gonna be the next field as soon as we get into corn. So since I don't have anything to do right now, which is very odd for springtime, I'm usually sprinting to the 305 to level up ground and get ground worked ahead of the planter, and then I'm sprinting back to the sprayer while trying to tender myself water and chemicals and all this other good stuff to follow the planter immediately. And this year is just, it's just weird. It's been so cold this spring. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and go get lunch, I guess. I'll bring Dad lunch, be riding the planter with him a little bit, maybe even run it. Oh, finally, a beautiful spring morning. We are gonna be planting today, hopefully get to our last field of beans. Last few days have been about 30 degrees in the morning. It is 42 degrees today, warming up to about close to 60 in the afternoon. This is bean planting weather. The last few days have just been, I don't know what the heck was going on. Yesterday we were having just the worst problems with the RTK, the John Deere RTK, which is just the globe on top of the tractor. It sends a GPS. We've got the base station radio wave RTK. Yesterday was just not it. We were about ready to throw the globe in the garbage and move to like Ag Leader or somebody else. It was Sunday. We didn't want to call anybody because it was Sunday, you know, and turns out there was a bunch of solar flares going off. Nobody was having, no matter what color it was, everybody lost signal. It was going haywire. I mean, you should have seen this thing. The mapping on our iPad, the tractor would be doing 360s, and then so we had to just totally shut the swath control off because we'd be going through the field and half the planter would be shut off even though we hadn't planted it yet, just because the mapping was so screwed up from the GPS. I mean, it wasn't their fault. So now that we know that, taking a day to kind of cool off. The John Deere rep is bringing out a new StarFire7000, the newest globe, setting us up with the 2630 monitor that we've had bought. It's just been sitting over at our dealership. It wasn't a big deal that we had it, you know. The old one works just fine, so we just weren't too worried about it. And we knew they were busy, so anyway, he's gonna bring that out too, I believe, and set us up with John Deere's new satellite-like RTK. That seems like a better plan to me than the whole base station deal. So that's what we're moving towards. I don't know if I mentioned or not, but I'm headed up to the 8270 now with the planter hooked up. The fuel filters are bad, we think. Could be something else. The tractor could be shut down today, which would suck, but we're gonna change the fuel filters, see if that is the problem. I brought the grease gun. I'm just gonna go ahead and grease a few things on the planter that we typically don't do until we switch to corn, but since the tractor's down anyway, until we get that receiver and all that, I'm just gonna knock it out now because we're almost done with beans. So well, Well, we went to change the fuel filters, and somehow the dually doesn't have any channel lock or filter pliers. At least two are the ones out of the truck. Got one filter, two large slip point joints in here. I'm just gonna take a guess. That's what that. I'm guessing these were from the dually, how rusty they are. Well, it looks like our Deere guy is here to put on the new globe and all that. Okay, the fuel filters are done. We've got the new system in place on the tractor, the 2630 monitor. StarFire7000 globe, which is the newest one from John Deere. The guy that came and put it on actually said that was the first one he's ever put on. So it is very new. We are now running the mobile RTK, no longer running the base stations.
I gotta get used to it. Wow, that's gonna buzz me. Okay, stop.
Betting you could probably change the volume of that beep. Like once we get the command center set up, or whatever that is, operation center, we can move tracks, I'm sure, to different fields. So whatever you do now, we can fix later.
And this is, that is
center.
Shift center, and this is shift. Wow, that's pretty sick. That's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
And this is giving me my planter down pressure.
Yeah, that's your target, 165.
Correct. Wow. Right out this side where I can see it.
The back axle.
Yes. Right in the middle of the back axle.
What we're doing here is we're calibrating the GPS. He's got to have those flags right at the back axle, and he's going to turn around here, get facing the same direction, I believe, with the back axle. Back at those flags. Perfect. So what I'm doing is I am just standing between his 8th and 9th row here. But it is impossible to see this bean stubble, so he can't really see his rows. So he's gonna be setting his A/B track with that new guidance system, since we couldn't, the guy that came didn't have his laptop, it was dead, so we couldn't pull the maps that we used to have set. And so we are setting a new A/B line currently and hoping it's correct. Like I said, I'm just standing between his 8th and 9th row where his tractor needs to be so that his planter is correct.
I set B, and that's what I got.
Yeah, now go to guidance. B, hit B. There you go. Which, if you want your planter, go back, hit your home page. There you go.
So it took that?
Yep, you're on your, you got your line now.
I don't care about 3.
I can tell you if it did, if you go back to your tracking, hit set track. So your heading is now 180.4827. So it did take, because he put in 0 before, so okay. So you're good.
That's how you load the plates after you've shut the fans.
You hold the sections up?
Hold these 2 sections up, and it plants.
Oh, yep, yeah, drop the seats.
It loads the sections.
So if you don't do that before, you'll have a blank spot right as soon as you start out.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So it's good to get over to this line.
Well, Dad is all hunky-dory there with the planter, so I'm gonna leave him to do his thing. I think we've got the new StarFire globe and the monitors all up and running. I am going to run to the John Deere dealership and grab that USB file he has got set up for me now. He took all of our maps off of our old monitor so that I can plug it into that 2630 and get all our maps back onto it. Luckily, this farm, it didn't really matter at the time to have those maps, so not a big deal, but the next field we are going to does have strips on it, so we really need the guidance that I put on with the strip till bar. So that is where I'm headed, and I'll probably pick up lunch and things like that because it is past 3 o'clock now. So Dad went ahead and took off with the soil finisher over to the next farm that we're doing. We had a few ripped areas right where we pull the trucks in and the grain cart and things like that, and then we've got a creek that runs all the ways through that field, and so that road that we put in there with the grain cart, we usually rip that too just to get the compaction off. So he's off doing that. I am back with the USB in order to get these tracks set up onto this new monitor, if I can get it. So I grabbed the USB. I'm just gonna go ahead and update it while it's sitting here, and then I'll probably head this over to the other field once I get it, if he's not back yet. Apparently he actually just took off, so I'm gonna go ahead and just run this over, and we can do all the updating later on. Gotta wait for the traffic to clear here before I can pull into the field. Wheels. Down. Okay. 3-point down. Okay. Hold. Out. Okay. I think we're in good shape. Let's get this USB plugged in and see if we can't fix our issues here. Well, it's transferring files. Kind of stinks. I spent all that time making the auto steer end rows, and they're not functioning properly on this field, which it's kind of my fault. I did an A-B curve all the way around. I just wanted to test if it would work. Clearly it does not, so won't be doing that again. Usually I'll do like kind of L shapes or U shapes with A-B curves, and then just I'll have 2 separate end road tracks for the same field. But this isn't that big of a field anyway, this portion, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But the back field has got about 70 or 80 acres, 70 acres I think. And I did set up auto steer on that, but I put it in a U so that it shouldn't mess up. If it does, I'm going to be very upset. I'll be able to use my straight tracks here in a minute once I'm done with this end row. Okay, so I have run out of seed on one row here, as you can see. But my mapping is looking really good. I'm loving what this StarFire is doing with the new satellite RTK, mobile RTK, whatever you want to call it. It's great. A lot cheaper to go to, so I think we're probably going to stick with this, buy it, and just keep it. But anyway, I'm going to get out, lift up those tubes we've got, try and get the CCS empty. That way I can even up the boxes, run across back down to the field, fill the planter, and then when I put the planter down, like right now I've got it in contention. It's on continuous right here, 1. When I put the planter down, I will just put it down. I won't push it all the way forward to put it into, I think it's called contention anyway, leaving it in continuous hydraulic down pressure, because that's what turns the CCS on. So I'll leave that off, run the boxes completely out of seed, and then just back up, put it into contention, let the CCS shoot the new variety to the boxes, and keep planting. Because apparently my father says, don't know if it's true or not, but he swears by it, you do not want to put two different varieties of soybeans next to each other or in the same box or anything like that, because it hurts yield. So that's the way we do it. It takes a little time, but he swears by it, so we do it.
This tube is typically down here, right down here, so it'll only fill up to here in these boxes. So whenever we want to get the seed out of the CCS, it's long enough, we just set it up here on that groove in the box, and it pumps out the rest of the seed. Now, as you can tell, the boxes are very uneven right now. I've got to go through and level up a lot, and I'm using the trusty McDonald's cup for that. Now we'll get turned around, go fill in that one pass that didn't get filled in here. We'll go get that row, get everything ran out of the planter. Since it's on the way, you could technically just fill now, but the seed tender is all the way down on the other end of the field. So I'm just gonna run these out, and I'll just come back to it once we get filled. Not a big deal. We're back on our track here. Stop. Put the planter down. Set our marker out, and away we go. I don't know what's beeping. Not planting. Why is it not planting? There we go. We'll see down here, our singulation will go, we'll see a row pop up if we're losing it. And then on our GPS as well, or our map here, you'll see the rows kind of start going blank. We are running about 135,000 pop. We tried running 142, you know, higher up there populations the other year just to kind of test it out, and we just didn't really see it pay at all. So we were basically just wasting seed at that point. So we dropped it back down to the 135 range. We average probably 70 bushel beans, 60 somewhere in there, high 60s. And with that 142,000 pop, 42 and a half, somewhere in there, that we were running, didn't change at all. In fact, it may have hurt us some because those beans were fighting at each other so bad, they'd grow about up to my chest. And so it was just all plant. And the dumb things would get all twisted up, blown over and stuff like that, and it was just a pain to combine. And yeah, so we dropped them back. That definitely wasn't the ticket on yield, so. And it's beeping at me saying row 13 is getting empty. We got another row here getting empty. That's pretty good. Go ahead and stop. Lift up a marker. Lift up the planter. And go fill with seed. We're switching to a new variety, to 3.5 as well. We forgot to send a tag, so we've got the bags, 35 units, and we've got another tag with 45 units on it. at 53 pounds a bag. So it turns out to be somewhere around 4,200 pounds. I did the math. I'm gonna have 2,120 pounds in each tank, so that I have half and half. Oh, what a day. I was supposed to spray, but with that new display and that new StarFire receiver and all that good stuff, I stuck around in the planter, helped my dad get it all set up, and it's working fantastically. The new mobile RTK, huge fan. Never even remotely tried to lose signal. Ran strong the entire time. Kept our old maps. I mean, it was fantastic. So definitely love that. Not only is the receiver cheaper, but the subscription is cheaper. The unlocks there's no unlocks. I mean, that's probably how we're going to go for everything beyond.